School's over now with the podcast, and I want to kick off this bonus solo episode with something special. And it goes with a quote by Steve Harvey. And Steve Harvey once said, "You have to jump in order to be successful." Every successful person in this world has jumped. I want you to take that in. There's something that you want to do right now that you're afraid of. There's something that somebody may doubt that you're even capable of doing. But in order for you to fully reach your potential, you have to take the leap. I know you guys are very familiar with my story from episode 1. And in episode 1, I talk about how I constantly got promoted. In fact, within 4 years, promoted 6 times. And as you can imagine, being promoted so often, there were times where it was easy, and there was times where it became a little bit challenging, especially dealing with retail. There was a particular time in my career, about a year ago, where I was presented an amazing opportunity. As crazy as it sounds, that opportunity wasn't coming in the perfect time. My wife at the time was 7 months pregnant, and this job that they were offering me was over 3 hours away. So, me thinking to myself, okay, what can we do? Is this even possible for us? Does this sound like something we should be doing? And we had a long conversation and got to the reality that, maybe we could do this. The way they were offering it, they were talking about it being, just a short amount of time and preparing me for the next role. And that's sometimes you often, get so focused on thinking the next role, you have to become more present day and realize the role that you're currently in. And at this particular moment, we knew at that time that this was only going to be a 7-month journey. So regardless of whatever was going to happen, we knew within 7 months, I was going to find my way back to North Carolina. So I took this opportunity with one fear in my mind. What if I'm all the way out there in the middle, 3 hours away from my family, and my daughter was born and I missed it? Well, fortunately, guys, that never happened. But I want to share with you today the 3 things that I learned going throughout this entire journey. And the first thing I want to share with you is to fall in love with the process. A lot of times we go through things and we have no idea why we go through those things. But you got to fall in love with the struggles of going through those things. So for me, I started my morning super early. We're talking at 4 a.m. I would wake up at a time frame when no one was on the road to gather myself to drive 412 miles a day. So physically and mentally, I'll be honest, now looking back at it, it was crazy. It was something that could have easily had broken me, but it made me a lot stronger. Through this process, I used to power up with espresso shots, whether it was a gas station, Starbucks, or even Dunkin' Donuts. Anything would do. I had to stay in a mindset of, I gotta make it to work. I acquired so much more knowledge. And the way that I acquired this knowledge was through podcasts. I started listening to whether it was Lewis Howes or whether it was E.T. And I started to realize that a lot of the things that these guys were talking about, I either was currently living it or I could speak to it in a way that could impact others. So I knew without a doubt that that was something that I could relate to. And I always kept saying to myself what my father told me way back when I was younger, is that you're not a man if you can't provide. So even though I probably could have just bundled up and just went to a corner somewhere and just said, I just can't do this anymore, I realized that I couldn't because I had a family to provide for. So as I went through this process, there were things that I still was able to do. I continued to collaborate with people. I led one of the best teams I possibly can imagine. And for this particular time frame, which as I told you earlier, I knew it was only going to be 7 months, we finished in the top 11% engagement score in the entire company. For that particular season, we had the #1 results to last year. And we continued to have strong improvements throughout the district. But these results were driven each day by my inspiring team of just hardworking people that I was able to go to and motivate them to keep them pushing forward. So as I began to think about how to achieve the next role, things changed. I was informed that the position that I currently viewed as my next step was a position that the company would eliminate in 2018. So having that type of knowledge, And this was supposed to be a short-term type of, venture. Having that knowledge, I knew I had to do something to get back to my family. And that's when I was blessed even more. And I made a lot of connections in retail, right? And one connection stands out in particular, and he's a guy that's absolutely my mentor now. And he hit me up and he was like, Shawn, I got the perfect job for you. And I just knew that this particular job opportunity and this particular person could continue to platform me. And I knew it was the right move for me and my family. And this newly created role, it gave me more responsibility. It gave me all those things that I thought that I definitely would need. So definitely fall in love with the process. I also learned, and this is the second thing I want to make sure everyone grabs, the value of family. And that's something that I learned being so far away. I knew in my mindset that there were things that just were non-negotiable. I wasn't going to miss a single doctor's visit. I wasn't going to miss if my wife had a hard time getting up the stairs, how to make that a more comfortable setting for her. So you have to learn the value of family. I know a lot of times you take on a career or you take on a job opportunity and you get nervous and you get scared. But remember, when you leave that job, that's your family. You're only going to get one of those. And so you got to take care of that. And the last thing I want to make sure you guys capture today, and this is the third thing. In life, things have to happen. By taking on this new job and being closer to my family, it allowed for my energy to shift. I had a new resounding desire to create an even bigger impact. And guys, I became laser focused on how to engage a completely new team, a completely new role, and get everybody centered around the whys. There was a great quote that Brian Tracy once said, and that was, every single great accomplishment in life is a result of thousands of minor accomplishments that nobody ever sees. So you fast forward 6 months later after taking on this new job opportunity and getting back with my family in North Carolina. And I received an exceed expectations on my review. And I think when I look back at this whole opportunity, I learned who I am. A leader who values family, one who trusts in the process, and understand that life, some things have to happen in order to become who you are. Guys, I hope this motivates you today, and I hope this solo episode just relates to you in a way that has you saying, yo, I can do this. I can do that. I can make it through this journey, and I will come out better than before, and I will come out with a lot of lessons learned. And as always, guys, remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it. Yo, what you think? I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I want to know what you learned. So if you wouldn't mind, would you take a screenshot of you listening to the podcast on your phone right now? Upload to your Instagram stories, tag me at ShawnRAnthony_, and then let me know in that Instagram story what is one thing that you learned. I love hearing from you, my listeners, thought leaders, former or current students all around the world. Let me know, and while you're doing this, go inside the podcast app, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and a 5-star rating. Again, this helps us reach more people. And if you want to be a part of this mission, helping us change the world one person at a time, it makes a massive difference by you leaving a review. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week. And remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it.